This is a Hot Pie Original.
Welcome to the Gray Area Podcast with me, Chad Fisher. No more.
Yo, it's Aaron Cheatham. Yeah, we out the house, boy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gray Area Podcast with me, Chad Fisher, along with my co-host, Mr. Aaron Cheatham. Aaron, how are you doing, brother?
Yeah, baby. I like it like that. We coming to y'all live from the illustrious Hot Pie Studios right here in the ATX. Thank you all for tuning in. Chad, we ain't come solo.
Yeah, we got a guest, man.
We got our first in-studio guest.
Yeah.
I would like to introduce this guy, but to be perfectly honest with you, I would do it no justice. So I'm going to let him introduce himself because he's far greater at this than I am. Everybody, our guest for this week's episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dogs and cats, birds and squirrels, your guest today is none other than the modified Marvel from the dark heart of Austin, Texas, a man with more ink in his skin than blood in his veins. Please put your hands together, raise your voices, and welcome the Lizard Man.
The Lizard Man is in the building. How you doing, brother?
I'm pretty good. I forgot one of my credits. Also, the man who introduces himself. Yes.
That should be at the top line of your resume.
Right,
the man that introduces himself.
Yeah.
And for all guests to come after you, be prepared to introduce yourself like that.
That's right.
Like that's a thing. You're going to have to do this yourself.
Pop quiz.
Set
come
the bar
prepared.
high, man. Yeah. I don't know how we're going to top that.
Great to have you here, brother. We got
Great
a
to
lot
be
to
here.
get into. Let's start off with our shout out. Let's get into this show. Let's run it. Thank you guys again for joining us right here at the Gray Area Podcast, Hot Pie Media. Chad, do you have any shout outs this week?
Yeah, man. So I've read this funny ass story, man, that there was my shout out of the week is to 5 African parrots in the UK that had to be taken out of a zoo because they all started like cussing at people.
I heard
Those
about
country-
that.
This shit was hilarious. Supposedly they had to quarantine them all and they got them all like, there were some that weren't initially like cussing birds and shit, but once they like, you know, got around these other birds and shit, they just started going crazy. And now they're just like cussing at like the zookeepers and shit, calling them a fat tit or whatever the hell.
So they've created like a colony of cussing
Yeah,
birds.
dude. And so they can't be around because like kids come through there. You know, you can't have it like a bird saying like, hey, you little, you know,
Bitch.
jackass bitch or some shit. The kid's gonna like start crying.
Kool-Aid mouth.
Who do you
mother.
think taught him that
Lawsuits.
shit?
I know, that's what I want to know. There's somebody just sitting there feeding them crackers like, say bitch, say bitch.
That was kids. I'll tell you,
Yeah.
that whole kid thing. Whenever I hear that you can't swear around kids, the only time I've ever been on stage with a bunch of people calling me a motherfucker and an asshole
Damn.
was a bunch of kids. It was literally 10 and 11-year-olds that were dropped off of this haunted house I was working at. People in the area used it like a daycare, like drop your kids off there for 6 hours.
Yeah, because that's like normal and shit.
Right. And they come around the stages and I was like, I thought I was foul mouthed when I let it go.
Jeez.
I got nothing on this, kids.
I mean, all you got to do is just get online on any gaming platform,
Right.
play online for about 30 minutes, and you'll hear a little kid call you names that you never thought that a grown ass man you'd be called. You know, like I've never wanted to hit a child with a knee harder than when I'm playing like Grand Theft Auto online. It's like I didn't know that I felt violent feelings towards children
Kids.
until the first time somebody called me a punk ass bitch, and it was just like, yo, I'm just trying to play a
Yeah, that's
game,
kind of
yo.
fucked up. You hear it like in a really high voice. You're like, yo, punk ass bitch. I'm
Yeah,
like, what
exactly.
the f-
Obviously,
I'm a
like
grown
7 years
man.
old.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna beat your ass.
Especially when you can hear mom in the background, dinner's ready or lunch is ready. Come
Yeah.
get.
Yeah.
I cut the crust off, Timmy.
Yeah, you little
Like,
brat, motherfucker.
I got
hey,
called,
tell your mom I'll be over in about 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got called a baby faggot playing Mortal Kombat
Jesus
11.
Christ,
Yeah.
God damn.
And my wife almost died laughing.
Dude,
Like
yeah.
she got struck like
That's
a thunderbolt. She's like, what the fuck did he just
Dude,
say?
that's hilarious.
Yeah, like I can't play online with my children in the room.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, you got to have headphones on for that
Yeah,
shit.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
All right, so your shout out is the cousin
Yeah,
birds.
dude, this is hilarious, man. Who just like ruin zookeeper's day. You know what I'm saying? It's just hilarious.
They say it ruins their day, but
there's some dude's just got like a really low self-esteem, and now like the parrots are piling on him. He's just like, what the fuck, dude? Everywhere I go, I'm just being treated like shit.
Goddamn lockdown got me in my house. I ain't seen nobody in weeks. I ain't had a beer in months. They got to come to work, put up with the snot-nosed kids, and this fucking parrot keeps calling me pussy tits. Like,
yeah, dude. It's like, what the fuck? Poor guy. Jesus.
You know what? I'm going to end it all.
Yeah.
I'm going to burn this zoo down. I'm burning the zoo down.
Yeah.
Man, I had a lot of options for shout outs. And I think like just off of the past month, I can probably spread out shout outs for like the rest of the year.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with a story I told you. And this is my shout out for multiple different reasons. I had the fortune, I guess, of I got booked to do a private gig down in New Braunfels at like a campsite. And I didn't know anything about this campsite or what the show or anything like that. But I find out like day of, this is where it's at, blah, blah, blah. I get there and there's like 70, 80 tents out there, right? And then I look around and it's like nothing but black folks. And immediately I'm thinking, like, I didn't
Black
know.
folks don't camp.
Yeah, I was like, are we camping? Like, when did this happen?
When did we start? Where's this sect of people in Texas of black people that's just camping all the time?
Yeah, exactly. So these are like black folks from all over the state.
So if they're like,
So-
were they like hula hooping and shit too?
So when I check it out,
Right?
so-
Was it like when you think of camp? Was it that type of camping? Was it like a mini Burning Man going on or something?
you know, because if you would have told me there was a lot of black people camping in the woods off of a river, that I would immediately think, okay, there's got to be at least 100 RVs or some hotels or something. No, they were actually in tents and shit. And
I'm surprised that your background story that you immediately built for that is so much more positive. Mine, you're like, oh, there must be RVs if they're not. I'm thinking, what the fuck went wrong? I'm like, oh shit, something has gone really, really wrong.
like as soon as I get out the car, like there's like 7 plumes of smoke because they got barbecues going all around this thing naturally, right? Like I get out the car, it smells like meat and weed. I was like, okay, so this is clearly a black
This is
camp.
definitely
Like,
a bar.
so
Like selling plates and shit.
Some cliches you lean into for the right reasons.
yeah,
That's-
exactly. And for me, it was just like I didn't know that this existed. But shout out to these black folks for taking a step out there and trying something new, right? So, or maybe it's not new for them, but for me, I grew up in Mississippi, and you ain't catching me outside, not with moccasins and the Klan. Like I'm not gonna be sleeping outside, like
I
at all.
almost wonder. I mean, I'm sure there's because there's always a difference, white, black, like on the whole. But I wonder if it's more geographic because I grew up upstate New York, and it partially being because my dad was in the military too. But we camped a lot, and I can tell you that I have no recollection of ever seeing a black family
Because we don't do
camping.
woods.
Yeah.
Right? But up north, like we camped. But even my cousins, my white cousins in the South, in the Carolinas, they didn't go camping. That wasn't a thing they did either. So
Because
it seemed like-
bears exist. Whether they exist in our state or not, bears exist, and brothers ain't out there with the
Right. Well,
bears.
that's
Like,
what I'm feeling like. Maybe it could be like a north-south divide too. Like
not even. No, we don't camp in the South either. No, we don't camp. So like just the fact that you've got this going on, it's just and it turns out that this is like a whole weekend thing they do twice a year. It's called Party in Camp, and they get a bunch of black folks
Sounds like a good
to go out
formula.
to the woods. And it's basically like the Kappa Beach Party or Freakneck in the woods. And these are all like everybody there was 35 and up. There weren't no young kids. So
That's
this is
crazy,
like
man.
a bunch of older black folks who got a little bit of expendable income that decided they wanted to come get freaky in the woods. I get out the car. I see the
I'm on board with all of this so far.
Yeah, so far it's dope, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna hate on this, right? And they got a stage in the middle of the campsite, and there's a chick on the stage teaching them like this year's hustle, like the 2020 hustle. They're doing it. So like she's teaching them to dance, and then they play the song, and then everybody out there is doing the dance on the little air quote dance floor. And I was like, yo, this is just a family reunion
That's what
Right,
they
yeah.
in the
Yeah,
woods.
they didn't want to book a pavilion and shit. So they're
Yeah,
like,
so
you know
it's
what?
like-
Let's just take this shit to the woods. Fuck
Yeah.
it. They can't charge us for that shit. Fuck
And
it.
I'm pretty sure most of them kept the receipts for the tents. Like,
yeah, the bitch is going back. Like, yeah, it wasn't big enough, sorry.
Yeah.
You figure about that. That's a real thing with street performers in England that I learned when I first went over
they
there.
keep
And-
receipts.
well, keeping a receipt for a tent. Because playing the first time I went over and played Glastonbury, I was like, oh,
Where's Glastonbury?
It's in the middle of a bunch of farmland in England.
Okay.
And they turn it into one of the largest festivals. 130,000 people
Oh, wow.
are there at any given time. Like it
Yeah.
becomes a city that just gets put up, and it lasts. I think it's a little bit over a week that I was there, but So it's a camping festival, right? When you go there, you basically become a resident of the festival for a week and you live out there. And they have artist camping, which is a little nicer, but how am I going to bring a tent and all this shit on an airplane over there just to do this gig? And luckily I had some friends with it, like, oh, I can loan you this or that. But when I get over there, somebody's like, oh, if you really need to, just, buy a tent, keep the receipt and bring it back. And there's this running joke is that, like, as soon as the festival's over, all of a sudden there's 1 million used tents come back and like there's long lines of people bringing back their tents because everybody does it, especially street performers who are like, well, hey, that's another, $50, $100, whatever that I could be keeping in my pocket.
Nice.
Just renting shit.
Nice. I didn't realize that they had a return policy like that in England. I thought that was just Home Depot.
It depends on where you are, but that's what I mean. Like I've actually, when I got there, that was actually a joke. It's like, yeah, there's going to be a long line to return tents on Tuesday morning.
Wow. So all in all, the event was dope. I'm not going to go on a lot of details on the show because there was some hilariousness there. But shout out to the people at Party and Camp for putting on an event twice a year, trying to get people that don't normally do something like that to do something like that. I think they started maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and it was like a very small thing. And then, like I said, there's like 200 black folks in the middle of the woods, and they're still looking to grow and whatnot. So, I mean, like, and then when I got back, I was telling everybody, like, the 7 other black folks in Austin, I was telling them about it, and they were like, I've never heard of such a thing, right? So it's like, like, this is something that's growing, and it grows word of mouth and stuff. So shout out to them for doing something that's like really out of the norm, a little different. And kind of changing the perspective of what we can do. I'm not getting a tent. I'll be more than happy to go perform out there again and again. Shout out to MC Lotto. She was the host for the comedy show. She fucking killed it. She was like a female Martin Lawrence, and that was a Def Jam crowd all the way. And she murdered that shit. And I was like, okay. But yeah, shout out to them. It was a dope event. All the pictures I saw, the videos I saw looked like it was a lot of fun. I would have never thought that there'd be a bunch of tents and bunch of black folks in the woods, but apparently we do that now. we are diversifying our portfolio, goddammit. Next thing you know, we're gonna be climbing Everest.
Bro, it's just like, hey, fucking white people have been keeping this for themselves all this time. This is actually fun. This is like camping can be a great time.
There's a caveat here. Like I said, they were on the river, and like, so they were in the river, and you would think maybe, oh, they were floating the river. Like, we're not there yet. Okay, so they were all tethered off to the shore, and nobody went higher than like knee height in the water. But they was in the water. Okay, like we're not really white water rapid ready yet, but we'll tie off and drink some Hennessy right there.
I mean, you can say that's when you let the white people go ahead. I say that's when you let the hillbillies go ahead. Like I might go a little bit in the deeper water, but when it turns into rapids, I'm like, no, that's for the stupid people.
Yeah, no. all the kickers were floating down the river. Right. We were playing dominoes on the shore. Like that's what we did. I saw some people rolling dice in some leaves.
Right.
This is the longest shout out ever, man. You're like thinking the parking attendant and shit.
There was no parking attendant.
It's like the pit master, the parking attendant.
I mean,
nature was fantastic.
Yeah.
I want to thank those two Blue Jays on the way
owls
in.
that were fucking out there, all that shit.
That squirrel that was running by.
Dick's Sporting Goods for the sale on tents. I mean, it was just a whole
$79.99.
It was a group effort that made this
and you
shit
know
awesome.
what? And it was
teamwork makes the dream work.
Effort was worthy of the shout out.
Okay.
How's your week been?
It's good, man. Got a new baby, of course, and so sleep is up and down and everything. Some days you're like, all right, man, I got it. Like we're like in a groove and shit, and then you got like 2 or 3 days where you just like don't sleep hardly at all and shit. So it's up and down, man. It's like it feels like you're on like a microdose of acid pretty much all the time because you're just like deliriously tired and shit, So you're just like, dog, did I just is something flying by my fucking head? It's like, no, it's just sleep escaping my eyes.
See, that's why you put the babies in the closet.
Jesus, yeah.
I got 2. That's what you do. They start making noise. Just put them in the closet. Put a blanket over them.
Yeah,
it's just like the parrots. If you put a blanket over the cage, they just shut up.
Yeah,
just put a blanket over the bassinet, and they have no idea. They're just quiet. You're like, I forgot you were there.
Yeah, they're gonna be quiet for a while too.
We want to introduce something to y'all. It's called our Holla Back. You ready for this, Chad?
Yeah, let's do it.
So the premise for this, and I'll let you know, is like, I realized that there's a lot of like I had beef with millennials, only to realize that it wasn't the millennials that were the problem. It's the group after the millennials that's the problem. I was at my job and I had asked somebody about the thong song. I was talking about the thong song, and this guy didn't know what I was talking about. And he's like, dude, I'm like 22. Like I was like, and So then I took a poll and I went around asking people in his age group if they had heard of the thong song. And I asked 7 straight people between the ages of 18 and 25, and they had no idea what I was talking about.
Just zero culture.
And I'm like, how do you not know the thong song? It was like the biggest song, granted 20 years ago now, 2000, but like when we came up, we knew the stuff that came before us. You know, the stuff that was really near past, and also like we're listening to freaking Louis Armstrong and, you know,
well, it's because the catalog was much smaller in the 70s and 80s. So playing old stuff wasn't going back that far when you're talking about
20
like
years,
pop radio, stuff
15
like,
years,
stuff
really,
like that. Yeah, you had radio stations that only played it back. And yeah, I heard big band stuff and things like it. But you now have,
but I also knew Earth, Wind, and Fire, which was like 5 years before I was born.
You had, and there was that filter, like the industry acted, you know, we can say a lot of bad things about the industry, but at some points the filter worked well, right? You had to really have something to make it worth somebody's time to make a physical album with your music on it.
Right.
Nobody was taking that risk without some real assurances, having seen you do a lot. So there was that filter we had. Like I said, there was less material. We were recycling over. Now, and there's the dominance of radio, right? Even into the 90s, radio was just a major. I remember doing morning radio in the early 2000s and it just driving shows and people's perceptions. Like there was a control over what they got and was there. Now there's not that. Now there's a million different ways to get a quadrillion different pieces of content that are out there. So the idea that somebody's going to search too far back, I mean, I get it. They're like, I can't keep up with today's releases. I'm going to have time to go back.
Well, listen, today's releases are trash.
Well, that's the argument, right? Is you're like, well, you got to find somebody that can show you the good and the bad.
And that's what we are here for. We would like to help you guys find the good and the bad. The guys, all y'all right behind the millennials. We're gonna. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, and that's I like the fact that you realize that you did, because I've always thought that millennials have the worst PR in the fucking history of generations.
Yeah,
everybody blames them for shit that is actually their kids.
Dude, it's like, but that's like every generation.
Well, it goes right. You get shit on. Everybody knows the progression of how your generation comes to ascendancy and then gets shit on by being young and old. But it's so funny to me.
We just say they're all millennials, but it's not all millennials. Yeah. There's a cutoff, and there's a next generation.
That's what's hilarious, because I hear people screaming millennials. I'm like, millennials are in their 30s, right?
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, no, I'm talking about those damn kids. I'm like, okay, you know who you're angry at. You're just not using the right description.
Right. Yeah. So we want to help them find the culture they need, right? So we're going to tell you guys or give you guys some ideas of things that you should go back, look at that's dope.
You should be angry at the millennials for not teaching their kids this shit. That's where you get angry at them.
And Generation X. Like, I mean, because these kids are like in their 20s now. So it's
Gen X, I got a vasectomy. I'm out of this one.
So our first holla back, the first person you guys need to go back and look at and get familiar with, get some culture in your life. Go find some Nelly, goddammit. They're going to take just 90 seconds here, and Chad and I are going to, and Eric, feel free to chime in. Nelly was hot back in the day.
He was.
Nelly ruled the world in the late 90s, man.
I mean, if you were in a club in the late 90s, early 2000s, and they weren't playing Nelly, you weren't really at a club.
Yeah.
You're like,
if you're in your 30s, you've had sex to Nelly at least like 12 times. You know what I'm saying?
Hopefully.
Or you've like gotten some chain. You've like, grinded on some booty at least 12 times.
Something good happened to one of his songs.
Nelly was the prelude to the nasty.
Yeah.
Like, definitely. I can think of at least 100 college nights that Nelly took a party from to shit.
Yeah, dog. I'm taking
1999, I'm on a metal tour. And in between bands, just the house music, stuff like that. They play Nelly, metal crowds.
Yeah.
Still into it. Yeah.
Across the board.
That's how big he was.
His first album, he had Country Grammar and EI, which I don't know why people sleep on EI nowadays. Like they talk about Country Grammar, but EI was the shit. And then Come Ride With Me, which wasn't really my jam, but still it got a lot of popularity.
Yeah. I've tickled
Air Force Ones. He changed I'm wearing Air Force Ones right now. Yeah. And back in 99, you could buy a pair of Air Force Ones for like $75. In 2000, he dropped the song Air Force Ones, and the price of this shoe went up by like $50. And it completely rejuvenated the market. Like he did more for Air Force Ones than anybody else has done for shoes besides Jordan.
Yeah.
Like, y'all, Nelly. Look up Nelly. Go get a grill. He made a song called Grills, and the next thing you know, half the country's got foil in their mouth. Like,
oh yeah, I used to do that shit.
Did you?
Oh no, dog. Yeah, you should listen. I've tickled many a butt to some Nelly. Yeah, so.
Yeah, for sure. And then if you're a little softer, you like slower stuff. He's got the joint with Kelly Rowland, Dilemma.
Tim McGraw, Tim McGraw.
No matter what I do, all I think about is you. That was everywhere.
Yeah.
Trust me, your parents boned to Nelly, or they had a post Nelly boning, and you can also make babies to Nelly. Go check them out.
Or they broke up because one of them heard Nelly on the dance floor and started getting their butt tickled.
I saw you shaking your ass.
I saw you getting your butt tickled.
You stayed out there for 2 Nelly songs, huh? Who was you dancing with? Who was you dancing with? So check that out, y'all.
Yeah.
Holla back. Nelly. Get up on some Nelly, man. Trust me. You will do yourself a favor. Get some culture. Drop down and get your eagle on. You ready to play our game?
Yeah, let's do it, brother.
All right. We got a game.
Game time.
Game time. We're flying through this. This game is Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Fuck, Marry, Kill.
Are we all familiar with Fuck, Marry, Kill?
Yeah.
I believe I've heard of this.
Okay. So the way it works generally is you give somebody 3 choices and they pick which person they would like to F, marry, or kill. But that's far.
All of a sudden, we went PG-13
I know. What
like
the hell?
that.
You're just like, this is going to be the marketing aspect of the show. You're just like, we just got to,
Yeah, you got to give them the promo clip.
So many times.
You got to give them the promo clip.
How many people would you F, marry, or kill?
F, marry, or kill. Instead of people, though, I'm going to give you guys objects. And you're going to tell me which one you were going to use in the process of effing, marrying, or killing. Okay?
See, when you say F, marry, kill, I don't believe you have the guts to do any one of those 3 things.
Fine. Which one of these are you going to use to fuck, marry, or kill? All right?
It seems like you're trying to get like a weird kink out or something like that.
It's not a wink. You know what? We're going with our guest
He's
first.
like, pineapple, warm cherry fucking pie, all these like fucking.
That's all food
all
stuff.
These
that's
movie references.
Yeah.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with movie references.
Nothing wrong at all. No.
All right, you're our guest, Eric.
I did the pineapple for Hitler and then
you go first. And on the line here, since we do have a guest, the winner will win a pack of candy.
Pack of candy.
Pack of candy on the line.
Fuck.
I couldn't get a trophy. Pack of something. This is competition, goddamn it.
All the budget went into the studio.
It's like half open.
All the budget went into the studio.
You see this TV?
You see this thing?
You see this TV?
Yeah.
That shit is half open.
It's a TV.
It's not half open.
It's been sealed back up. I don't know.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Right.
Lizard Man, are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, here are your 3 objects.
3 objects.
Lasagna. Shut up, Chad. Lasagna. Kittens.
Kittens.
Hot air balloon.
Hot air balloon.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Lasagna, kittens, hot air balloon.
All right. We're going to kill the hot air balloon. We're going to fuck goes to the lasagna and marry the kittens.
Yeah.
How are you going to use the hot air balloon to kill something? You throw it off?
They've got those big sandbags up there. I mean, they were used by the French in an early war. They were used for spotting and for tossing early grenades. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I can. If not that, I'll just crash the fucker into somebody.
Kamikaze style.
Kamikaze style.
All right, so you're fucking the lasagna. You're gonna marry kittens.
I'll marry the kittens. They seem like they're good for companionship long term.
You're a ferret guy, though.
Yeah, I am a ferret guy. Yeah.
So I mean, that's not too far off.
Yeah, it's a ferret's like a kitten that never grows up, really.
Really?
Yeah, they stay hyper and small, as opposed to cats that get big and turn into assholes.
Yeah.
All right. Chad, we go to you now.
Yeah.
You're 3 for fuck, marry, kill. A megaphone, knee pads, eggnog.
Dude, I agreed to this game. I said this was a good idea.
That sounds like fuck just all put together in 3.
Yeah,
That's like 3 things for fuck.
You're trying to get me to fuck like inanimate objects and shit. It's kind of weird.
But it's not for you to actually fuck. You use this in like
fuck someone,
or in the process.
In sex,
like
right?
Yeah.
Like
you're not gonna put your dick in eggnog, okay? This isn't American Pie 4, but you can.
But everything else is realistic. Everything else is totally realistic.
I think you're a little overconfident about him not putting his dick in eggnog. I just think you're slightly overconfident about that.
I don't. I think. I wouldn't do that. What are they again?
A megaphone,
only mashed potatoes, and that's
knee pads, just eggnog.
Dude, I don't know. This is a tough game, dude.
Wait, you're a very smart guy. I know that you have the brain capacity to think of ways to use these objects for those 3 things.
What am I, like Jeffrey Dahmer and shit like that? And I just like know how to
a little bit.
I'm
a
like,
little
yeah, I can kill someone with a knee pad. That's easy.
You know, this whole thing is just a government program
None of these are like
to get you to admit to the crime in advance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Later on, when you fuck, marry, or kill someone, they're going to go back to your file and be like, aha.
We
Yes.
knew.
He said he was going to put arsenic into eggnog and kill people.
He said he was going to poison his wife with the eggnog after he
You
married
don't even
her
have
because she wore
arsenic,
the
so
knee
you
pad,
can't kill anyone with any of these objects.
Yeah, you could say, I'm going to use eggnog, put some poison in it. Done.
Well, that's adding another object. That's
All right,
not-
you can drown him in the eggnog.
That's like saying you're like, I'm gonna splash him with eggnog and then stab him with a knife or some shit.
I feel like
dude, you can't do that.
I feel like, I don't know you very well, but I feel like you must be a really nice guy because you're not thinking of all the very obvious violent things that I am that can be done to these objects. I'm over here going, poison the eggnog. Okay, drown him in that shit. Beat him over the head with a fucking bottle. Why can't you kill someone with eggnog, goddammit?
Yeah, what he said, dude. That's what I'm gonna do. All those things.
Marry, kill?
Dude, you can't marry an inanimate object.
So you're not marrying an object. So you take a megaphone and will you marry me? I'm gonna use a megaphone to propose to somebody.
There we go. That's what I'm gonna do.
I'm gonna use the knee pads to, fucking get down on the knee and ask somebody to get married.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what. There you go, man. We got it. Everything.
All right, he's crowdsourced his answer.
Yeah.
We got one more round with you guys. One more.
All right.
All right, here we go. Eric.
Yeah.
Fuck, marry, kill.
Got it.
Marijuana.
Ooh.
Hairbrush.
Baseball bat.
He's like gun.
Well, yeah, this is, I kill
Pamela Anderson and fucking
definitely kill somebody with all of them, but I think I'm going to take the obvious route. You got to go Harley Quinn style, kill with the baseball bat.
Boom.
All right, the hairbrush, I'm going to go for marry because I'm going to give it's a very nice hairbrush. I'll give it to a woman. She'll want to marry me. It's a lovely present. It'll kick off the relationship. And then, what was my last one for?
Marijuana?
Oh, and marijuana, I'm going to get high and fuck my new wife till my balls fall off.
Oh, with the straight up Rick James. Mary Jane.
That's right.
Okay.
If you're doing shit not high, you're wasting effort.
You're a big
I agree
advocate
with
on
that.
getting high and exercising.
Absolutely.
Oh hell yeah, dude.
Fuck yeah. Yeah,
you're
you
like way
gotta
more in
get
tune with
high.
your body and shit.
Yeah, and it just and the earliest thing for me was I would work it in the between. I still do this, finish a set of whatever, go do a set off my vape, then go do my next set of whatever like that. It's giving myself a reward. I'm Pavlovian condition for myself.
You just like
you
go in
worked out. Here's a treat.
You just like go in the steam room and shit. No one knows.
Oh, afterwards. It's just, I don't work at a gym. I work out at home.
Oh,
generally,
okay.
yeah. I do a lot of yoga and
I
just
thought you like
bodyweight
went out to the
calisthenics.
parking lot and come back in, just like, hey, what's up, guys? Don't worry about me.
No, in the garage, you could do it all.
Yeah.
Just going in the steam room. Yeah, it's fucking real smoky and steamy in here.
Smoke,
Huh? Yeah.
stroke,
When-
smoke,
when-
stroke.
Smoke and stroke.
When I'm on the road though, then get a hotel with a steam room or something like that. I'm always in the things. I love a sauna. Love that shit.
Okay, Chad, we flip over to you. Last one.
Oh god.
Puppies, icicle, lawnmower.
Icicle, of course, to kill someone because there's no evidence. Lawnmower.
Because it melts, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
there you go.
okay.
Clever. He's getting into it.
Puppy, I would marry, but they're not gonna be a puppy forever. It's just like that's just the age they are at that time. So I would take a young dog, I guess, to marry.
That just made it more creepy.
It did.
What the fuck, dog? Come on.
You'd be like, all right, you took a puppy, but now you're. We all understand that you take the puppy, but you putting too much thought into it now. You're getting way too rational.
You guys just spent like 5 minutes going through this shit. Like, nah, I'm good. You guys, it's like you're trying to convert me to some like weird cult or some shit.
No, none of that.
That's what it seems
Embrace
like.
the
Yeah.
darkness.
Yeah.
Embrace.
No.
Yeah.
So which one? What are you doing with the puppies and the lawnmower?
Lawnmower, I'm gonna fucking mow I love you into someone's lawn or some dumbass shit.
For the marriage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
And then you can use puppies to get ass.
Yeah.
Like they are a chick magnet.
All right. I believe you.
You're not a dog guy.
I mean, that's straight. All right.
All right. Well, that's the game. E, you took it. Lizard Man. There you go. There is your
You got
prize.
half open.
That's
fucking
right.
Half gone
Got my
fruit
trolley.
snacks. Yeah.
Victory.
Chad, you got headlines for us this week?
Yeah, dude. So we're trying to lighten the mood a little bit. We're not going to do it. A lot of times we do political headlines and shit. We're going to take a break from that this week. As as I say that, the first one is like about a Brazilian senator and shit. But
Right,
no, this
take
is
a break
like,
from U.S. politics. We'll talk shit about other countries. Hell yeah.
But a Brazilian senator was caught hiding cash between his butt cheeks, man, when he got his house raided. I just thought this. So like they came and raided his house because they thought he's like been like stealing or money or fucking embezzling money or some shit. And they went
How
to his
much
house.
money was in it?
Exactly. That's my first question. I'm like, how much?
That's all I want to know. And I want to know how long it was in there for before they were searching him. They like got him back to the jail and just like a couple G's just fell out of his butt cheeks. He's like, so close. Fuck. Shit.
Yeah, and like, did he have it like, was it between the butt cheeks? Because that means it was like
and that's all I'm saying is like that they said,
right?
they said
or was it
specifically,
rolled
they
up
didn't say like in his pants. They were like in between his butt cheeks. They were like,
because if it was up his ass, they would have set up his ass.
Yeah,
and I don't know like how much.
Anytime you have the opportunity to say it was located in his rectum, they're gonna rectum it up.
Yeah, he coughed it out.
That's
shit.
ratings right there.
But,
yeah.
But for butt cheeks, and I want to know how much money do you think you could fit between your butt cheeks?
Maybe
If they're
a
like
penny?
all hundreds.
A penny? 25 cents?
And your butt cheeks. No one's saying you got butt fucked. We're talking about butt cheeks.
Man, listen here. Well, you know,
butthole.
You know what? I am fortunate. I'm black, so I got a little bit of booty. So I could probably, you get a couple of these white guys.
I'm over here with no ass talking about it.
I think I can get like 4 or 5 G's in my butt cheeks.
I mean, is it folded or are you doing straight?
It's gonna be folded. You know what I'm saying? And like $100 bills. So you could.
Listen here. If my life is on the line, you'll be surprised.
Yeah.
If it's for recreation, maybe $1.
Yeah.
You might catch me in a tip drill video though. If my life is on the line, I got credit cards, I got keys, everything in there.
Is it a bar bet or a hostage situation?
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Yeah. If it's a bar bet, for $1, I could probably get $1 in there. But if my children's life is on the line, I got $500,000.
Yeah, dude. I don't know about that. I don't think anyone could do that, but.
Oh, it'll just be open.
Yeah.
I'll be walking around with the Arsenio Hall butt.
Next headline is, did you see this video about a disorderly goat took over a cop car?
Yes.
This shit was hilarious, dude. So this girl, this sheriff, she like leaves her door open. She's like serving somebody papers for some bullshit or whatever. And she left the door open and a goat climbed in and like ate a bunch of paperwork and shit. And then he headbutted her and like knocked her over and shit, dude. And I want to know, why isn't this goat in jail?
Jail? Why isn't he dead?
Yeah, I'm like, I'm waiting for the shit.
That is true, man.
I mean,
you were like, there's some like, so she was there to shoot the dog, and then the goat jumped in the car.
Like, hello.
She was like trying to get him out. She's like, hey, get out of here.
Roscoe, the goat's owner, he's been shot 4 times in the back. Meanwhile, the goat's driving off.
I was thinking awesome. You know what would be awesome is if they trained the goat to do this shit. He's like, yeah, go in there and look for this. Look for a warrant. Look for a warrant.
Eat the warrant. Eat the warrant.
Eat it. Yeah, like that's.
I'm sorry, it was in here.
As soon as he sees the cops knock on the door, he just opens up the cage for the goats.
Yeah.
Go
release
tear
the goats.
That's hilarious, man. And then this shit, last headline. Funny as hell. Did you hear about this girl? It was like these 2 girls were traveling from Dallas to Miami, and one of the girls had a first-class ticket.
It's a long way to go for Coke.
Yeah, dude, shit. Dallas.
There's plenty in Dallas already.
There's plenty in Dallas. Yeah.
Something wrong with the pipeline? Did I not hear?
Church.
Right?
And so they, one of them was in first class. Another girl like wanted to be in first class but didn't have a first class ticket.
Yeah.
So she like hid in the underneath compartment, not compartment, but underneath the seat of the person in front of her. It's like, dog, Coach is not worse than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Coach, that's way worse than Coach. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Status is so important.
Yeah. And so they had to they had to ground the flight because she wouldn't get out.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, first class. She just wanted to take a selfie. It's like, first class, bitches. And you just see like some fucking high heels and a goddamn pair of Air Force Ones like right by her face. That should be hilarious.
And what was their strategy if they got into the air? She's just gonna be like, surprise, I'm here. Now you got to deal with me.
Yeah.
That doesn't go over very well.
Make you move.
Like I know a lot of professional flight attendants.
I mean, do these chicks not
He said
know?
professional flight attendants.
Yeah.
Like Chuck Norris is in the air. He will kick you in the face. I mean, Steven Seagal is out there issuing warrants. He can be on like that's the last thing you want is to a U.S. Marshal to knee you in the face because you wanted to sit under a chair in first class.
That's so American to do too.
And the thing is, too, like, I'm saying about flight attendants. Yeah, I said that was needlessly redundant, wasn't it?
You said professional flight attendants. Like there's amateur flight attendants out there. It's just like we just do it for the love of the fucking.
I'm sure there's some charter airline out there using like, hey, baby, you want to make $50 in tips? Jump on this plane with it. But
it's like, pro bono. I'm doing pro bono flight attendant work.
We're just working for the peanuts.
Like a marshal, like I think if you're lucky, because the marshal has guidelines or that, the flight attendant knows that anything they do is going to be backed 100%. Like the marshal, you'd be like, that law enforcement officer brutalized me and abused my rights. The flight attendant kicks your ass. Everybody's going to be like, you got what's coming to you. Sit the fuck down.
You got whooped by a flight attendant.
But the flight attendants too are, like I said, I know a bunch just from flying a lot. You see the same one and going. A couple of my buddies, used to work in the industry, so I met some of them. They're not going to fuck around. Like they take that very serious. If it ever gets to that point, especially after 9/11 for their industry, they all collectively kind of went like, yeah, fuck that. That's the nuclear option.
If you're on Southwestern, they're going to make fun of you while they do it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're going to be roasting you while they whoop.
Two of them will be putting the boots to you. The other one will be on the intercom going, if you look in the aisle right now, you might notice a man getting his ass kicked. Look at those heels dig into the ribs.
And that is the choke that we teach. That's the Southwest choke right there. Put them down. Put them down.
Shout out to Flight Attendant Training School instructor, former Marine Sergeant Billy Buckworth for showing me that move.
Wow. That makes me like the whole story makes me think of Passenger 51.
Right.
Like I immediately go to Wesley Snipes. Like,
the movie was the bomb, dude.
Hey, holla back. Y'all need to go check out Passenger 51. Wesley Snipes was the shit back in the day.
All right, so that's the headlines, man.
Boom. Chad with the headlines. Speaking of headlines,
Yo,
you have a book that you wrote a few years ago and is now being offered on Amazon Kindle, right?
That's right. Because I'm a very, very fast worker, I put together a book of a bunch of articles that I wrote for, it's the BME zine. It's the Body Modification E-zine, an old website, which is actually still up and running today. Just in the mid to late 90s, that was the only internet source for body modification stuff. It was where you went for tattooing, piercing, everything. Way before most social media that we know today, we had the IM network on there where people would have personal pages, share information. It became, the online center for what was going on in the body modification world. And it was through that I ended up writing articles for them. Probably stopped, I think, in 2006 or 7. By 2009, like I say, I work fast. I had collected them together into a book and put it out as a print-on-demand paperback. Now, 10 years later, I've actually gotten around to the point of uploading the file to Amazon so you can actually get it as an ebook. Because, like I say, I'm just a hard, fast-working hustler like that.
Did you narrate it as well?
Oh, it's not an audio. Not an audio book. Yeah, we don't have the audio book yet. I'm so sick of reading my own book at this point. I don't know if I could read it out loud. Right now, baby steps. 10 years to get the Kindle edition up there. But it's out there. It's called Once More Through the Modified Looking Glass. Like I say, it's a series of articles. There's a lot of body modification focus in there, but it does cover a range of topics just, with that as the bent. So I talk about freedom and responsibility, for instance, mostly as it pertains to, say, your rights to modify your body, which is a corollary argument that could be made for a lot of other things, whether it be, abortion or anything like that. There's a couple of different things in there about legislature where they tried to ban tongue splitting in the early 2000s. And I ended up debating state senators around the country on radio, trying to point out just how pointless this legislation was and how misguided.
How much taxpayer dollars were spent for senators to really stop this?
Exactly. It's always a grandstanding. Everywhere it happened, it was a grandstanding technique because the politician involved thought it was a slam dunk. They would literally, in the case of the Illinois Senate, a former dentist and now career politician stood up with a picture of me, literally my headshot. He printed off the internet to show a forked tongue and was like, we can't let kids be doing this. Now, in that photo,
but spilling millions of gallons of oil into the ocean is totally fine.
He wants
hey, fuck the swans. You know what I'm saying? We don't want some guy that we never are going to meet doing shit that we don't want.
Well, I mean, it's the political game, right? You've got to sponsor bills. You got to get laws passed. You can list it in your criteria. So you want a few slam dunks. Yeah. And especially at that time, I'm out on Ripley's. I'm touring. I'm doing bands and festivals. I'm out there. This is very much an ascendancy point for me. I'm kind of crossing over into one level, the next level, and working my way up to the one beyond that, sort of in regards to my career. So yeah, he's getting free press, and that's what he's looking for. On the face of them, most of them were just straight up unconstitutional. They were just bad. It's like, well, why should it be illegal? We don't have a reason, but we just think it should be. That's not good enough, right? It was so far. I tend to be pretty far liberal, somewhat radicalist in a lot of ideas.
I couldn't tell by looking at you.
Right? Yeah. but
Yeah,
but-
because if you were like Republican or some shit like that, it'd probably be like,
well, this was a point where they actually come together and meet bipartisanly. I was going on conservative talk radio because they saw this case as government overreach.
mhm.
They saw it, a lot of libertarian idealists and radio hosts wanted to have me on because they're like, yeah, this is a perfect example of what government doesn't need to be wasting time on.
Yeah.
And I mean, in that regard, I agree with them. In a lot of other regards, I think they're petulant children who need to grow up and face the real world. But you're
Yeah.
entitled to your beliefs.
I agree.
What other type of articles did you cover in the book?
There's interviews. I did a lot of interviews, some with people who were body modification related, some that were sideshow related. There's an interview in there with a guy named Matt Gahn, who at the time wasn't even working shows or anything. He's a tattooed man. Some people know him as the checkerboard man. He's covered in black and white checkerboard. He's got some other designs interspersed. He now works a lot of tattoo conventions, a lot of the circuit that I used to work performing shows. He goes there as just a personality. It's like mostly a photo op and just to talk to him, get to know him because he's an interesting guy who's done an interesting thing.
Do those pay well?
They can. Like the rate has been flat. It's one of those things that, back when I first started doing it 22 years ago, it was great money. And especially when I was younger too, right? It's one of those things where, and I've had this conversation with a lot of other performers, especially, stand up and sideshow people where you're like, the gig you would kill for in your 20s is one you wouldn't even consider in your 40s.
Right.
It's just not there anymore. It's just
Yeah.
not worth it. So, I mean, there's that aspect, but the rate has stayed flat. I mean, I basically set a rate in the late 90s of $1,500. My argument being it was $500 a day. And if I was going to do a show where I legitimately risked my life and my health, I wanted at least $500.
You're like,
Yeah.
that's what it's worth. It's not
Yeah,
anything less or anything
Yeah,
more.
like I'm a 24-year-old wannabe professional freak. I do a lot of stupid shit, but you're going to pay me at least $500 for this stupid shit. So that was sort of the formula I did. And in my head at that time, I was thinking if I can get one tattoo convention a month, right, then I've got, $18,000, which was, if I was making $18,000 in a year back then, I was like, holy shit, I'm making it. That was big, big
You're like,
money.
I might get a mattress and a dresser.
Right. I might live in a legal apartment.
With my name on the list.
No more couches
yeah,
for me.
yeah. It's like it's funny when I tell people like, yeah, I've actually never had a lease, and like, you've never rented an apartment. I'm like, oh no, I've rented apartments. I've never had a lease.
Yeah.
Because that would have been documentation of a crime.
yeah.
So you've done all that. One of the things that interests me, and I'm sure you touch on this in the book a little bit, one of the things that interests me the most about you is that like you're an international man of misery.
Yeah.
Like you're all over the world.
I go everywhere and I'm miserable about it.
Yes.
I'm a miserable bastard who travels the world.
So your perspective, not only of our country, but of all countries is a little bit different than most of us. Like your perspective on other countries, like Europe, Australia, parts of Asia is different than somebody who never left America. And conversely, your perspective on America is different than most Americans who have never left America.
Right. I mean, to me, that kind of sums up a lot of our modern problems. The fact that in today's world where it's so easy to travel or make a connection outside of your own geographic area. You talk about people being online. Well, even when people are online, you look at their Facebook connections, most people's Facebook friends, even when they're the one, live within a drive, right?
Right.
Which means you're not actually expanding the world.
Yeah.
The reason that travel works and the reason that people are affected by it and getting that different perspective is that's what you need. You need to actually experience it, right? You need to go somewhere where if you're the majority, you're not the majority, right? And generally, if you leave your own country, you instantly become a minority. You get a little bit of a feel for what that's like.
Yeah.
It's the same reason everyone should have to work a service industry job. You got to know what that's like to appreciate the person doing it as a human being.
Right.
So you don't become one of these assholes. I don't tip, or they should get a better, whatever your bullshit. You're like, oh, you've obviously never been there.
Mhm.
Right. Well, that's what traveling does. When they say traveling broadens you, it puts you out there. It lets you look back. You get to see how other people see your country. You get to see how other people look. It's weird. There's a weird thing because it ruins your faith in humanity at the same time it builds it up.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because in big picture issues, it just gets more and more depressing, right? You go outside of America and then you feel like, oh man, I got some problems with my country right now. And you go to another country, you're like, yeah, we got some problems with it too. Ones you haven't even started to address. You're like, you get the criticism coming in. You're like, what? But I've also, I've been to, I think you need to go to places that are, it's too easy to vacation and get into a bubble. Like I know people that for years went and vacationed in Mexico and they got nothing out of that other than vacation photos.
Right.
Now you need to go somewhere and spend some time and actually make a connection on the ground so you get these different perspectives and these different feelings. And that's where it will build up your faith in humanity, because I've been places where like me looking in before I'm going there, I'm like, man, that's bad shit. I'm like, should I even be going? I've done, Eastern European TV shows and things like that, where literally I've driving from the airport, seen tire fires. Like we've driven by tire fires in the city, like on corners and shit, and like, okay, this is rough. Every place has full armed security, it looks like a militant state. And you start going, wow, it's not bad. But you deal with the people and life is going on. A functioning society is there. So what if the government collapses? What if the government dissolves? What if the government shuts down? Well, get up, go to work, keep the fucking system running, be nice to your fucking neighbor, and it will be all right. This is where I said where that faith in humanity comes back. I'm like, I've seen places that have had it far, far worse than America probably ever will at this point. And you know what? They pull through. And even within America, you see when, this typically is after a natural disaster, right? You go, during a disaster, they like to say there's no atheists in foxholes. The thing is, there's no political parties in floods. Right. Or
Seriously.
in house fires. Like, right. If you're asked, like, who'd you vote for? Wait, let him go out the window first. Yeah. That doesn't happen. You know why? Because even the worst of humanity isn't that scummy. And that's where I say there's still, that's that kernel of faith that you get to see. And when you see that all around, you can come back and be like, all right, it's bad, but the worst case scenario is out of your head. So you let that stress go.
Yeah, I think when I travel, like what I think about is this kind of the same thing, but like bigger picture. I think that like all governments are fucked and they're all evil. And then what restores my faith, like you said, is like the people. You realize like that's the commonality we all have, is that we're all kind of like living the same life, man. You know what I'm saying? Like I think like 80 or 90% of people on the earth like live on less than $10 a day. We're kind of all just like eking by due to a system that exploits us and shit. And so you see that all over the place. That's what I noticed when I traveled like to Europe, was that like there's people just like us over there being subjected to the same bullshit from their government, while the upper class takes and continues to take and is continuously more and more greedy, and then less and less for common people.
We argue a lot, or we see the argument a lot of it's we want capitalism or socialism, but no, socialism or communism or this like the systems. At this point, I've taken almost a computer programmer approach. I keep bumping that mic, sorry. I take like a computer programming approach to it. Everybody knows, or I think most people know the acronym GIGO, right? Or GIGO, I don't know how you would say it out loud, but garbage in, garbage out. Right?
Yeah.
Like your code, your
so
code, and polling is a perfect example of that. Right? Like the system can be absolutely good, or the system's good enough, but if you feed garbage into it, it puts garbage out.
Yeah.
Now, apply that to a political system.
Yeah.
The system may or may not have inherent flaws in it, but the problem is, what are we putting into the system? People. The people we're putting in are garbage. People are, Slipknot said people equal shit. I'm saying right now for this,
I think
people equal garbage. You put garbage into a political system, you get garbage out of it.
Yeah, right. I agree that like the people that are running for office and like people that like that want like control and power are inherently like flawed and fucked up and less caring and everything like that.
Right. If you want the job, you shouldn't be able to have it.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so only like narcissists are gravitating towards politics and everything like that. But also when you incentivize, when you have a system that incentivizes corrupt behavior, that's what's going to happen.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can't be like, you can make a shit ton of money if you allow this this oil company to drill in the Arctic, fucking.
Or you just set the fine so low where the company goes, if we break this law, we make $1 billion and they fine us $250 million.
Yeah, you
do it. We get $750 million.
Like tipping your waiter. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's just like the same with these drug companies that, the FDA approves these drugs and everything like that, and then they go out and they end up killing a bunch of people and shit, or they like cause like a crime epidemic, or like just a mental health epidemic and abuse epidemics and stuff like that. And then they find out like later that they're complicit in this, or that they've, purposely made these things addictive, or they're just giving them out to people like candy.
Well, they don't see it as they didn't see it as a drawback.
Yeah,
right?
and so
the addictive property was known from the beginning, but people were like, well, that's the trade-off.
Yeah, and
they'll be addicted to it, but it will deal with their pain.
Yeah,
right. And so everybody was. But that's not how they pitch it didn't pitch it to patients, right?
No, of course not.
That was the behind closed doors. They were like, look, we're going to trade off addiction for pain management. But we're going to tell the people, hey, just take it. It'll take care of your pain.
And you hear people say later, they're like, oh, well, they paid like a $1 billion fine or whatever. It's like they made 20 billion. You know what I'm saying?
Who cares, right?
Who gives a fuck, And then they named it another drug and then repurposed it, and now it's something else, and they're still making money off of it.
I think it was Ron White has the joke about speeding in either South Dakota or something, or Montana, where he was like, the guy pulls you over, and at the time, then you paid the guy directly, and he was all like, "What's the fine?" And it was something ridiculous, and he's like, "Just to be a big shot, I gave him $100." It was like, "Keep it. I'm going to be speeding through your state all day." But that's the point, right? A fine has to be. There have to be tangible consequences, and in so often, especially in white collar crime, we see there is no tangible consequence.
Ever.
Do you feel like in your travels that this is something that is widespread across the globe, or do you feel like that's something that's more localized here in America?
I think that no matter where you go in the world, you have no shortage of bad people trying to get into positions of power. How successful they are at it varies from time to time, right? I mean, again, we can look at Eastern European countries. Russia's like, some of the various oligarchies in the world. South America has had some not so great runs, right?
Right.
Your problem always seems like the worst problem in the world, too. I mean, and I remember, was it a few years ago, somebody was talking about whatever government scandal was in the big news of the day, and so they're like, "This is the worst scandal in history." And somebody went, "It's not even Teapot Dome level," and everybody's forgotten about that shit. Like that's what it proves to you too. You're like, if it's not even significant enough that it'll be in history books in 80 years, it's really just get your perspective back.
Oh shit. Have you gone to South America?
Yeah. Actually, my South America story is my 9/11 story. So the morning of 9/11, I board a plane and fly down to Argentina, to Buenos Aires, Argentina. So when I get to Argentina, the 9/11, now it's not over, but they're going through the remains. Zero idea. And also it was on, I forget which airline it was, but it was the same airline that the two flights were from, and I was coming from the Northeast
United?
at the time. Yeah, it's probably been United, or it would have been Continental then, maybe.
Yeah. But
anyway, so I get off the plane, right, and I don't speak any Portuguese, or my Spanish is like, get me a drink, get me to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So but this driver from the company is like trying to talk to me and my buddy Scott, who used to travel and do shows with me. We're happy. This is going to be an in and out. We're literally flying in. We get there. We're supposed to get there, sleep that night, film the next day, fly back home the next night. Like it's a 24-hour run, great payday. And I get to say like, hey, I've been to Buenos Aires. We get off, this driver's like, do you need, in bad English, you need anything? And we're like, no, good. Let's go. And we get in the car and we take off driving. He goes, I take you to the studio. I'm like, no, we're supposed to go to the hotel so we can get some sleep and wake up and shoot tomorrow. He's like, no, studio. Finally, we get to the studio and, eventually they, explain to us like what's happened. Like, do you need to call anybody? I'm like, yeah, I guess we do need to try and call people. So it's the middle, it's middle of the night, 9/11, and everybody's freaking out. So I'm calling back to, my girlfriend, then my wife now, my family, everybody be like, wasn't our plane. We're cool. We're fine. Let everybody know.
Yeah.
No idea when we're coming home, right? Because everything's been shut down.
Right.
Yeah.
It was actually the studio people down there were fantastic. They're like, we got your hotel, we got everything. We're not shooting. Obviously, this is the only news story. We'll see what's going on. So the next day, it was just chill out at the hotel. They made sure that they give us some money, like just, do what you can, try to enjoy yourselves. We're going to make the best of this.
Yeah.
They're like, the next day, they're like, hey, if you still want to come in and film the segment, we'd love to do it. We're just going to do it in an empty studio, just do it as if there's a crowd. Like, okay, fine. So we go in, we do that. They love it. Everybody's happy and all that. And then I think it was a day or two after that where they were just like, yeah, hang out. They made sure we were all taken care of. Then they're like, we got you on the first flight being allowed back into the US from South America. Got in, landed in Chicago, and I've got a picture of me at the back of the line to get into the line that's in the building, just to stretch it all the way out like that. I think we stood in line for like 3.5 hours.
Really?
Yeah, got up to the front of the line, and the woman there just literally looks at me and my buddy Scotty. He goes, Where are you trying to go? And I go, Austin, Orange County, New York. And she looks down, she does the type thing like that. She looks up at me and she goes, are you checking a bag? And I said, no, I've got everything in mental. She hands me, she goes, gate 30 for whatever it was. She goes, run. I look at it, and it's like boarding.
Yeah,
like fuck yeah. All of a sudden I'm OJ Simpson. I'm like, I'm 100
in the Hearst commercial.
Yeah, I'm 140 pounds.
people
fucking linebacker just like
jumping over luggage bags and stuff. Yeah,
and like and Scott's behind, like he's been waiting for her to say something to him, like over my shoulder. I'm like, good luck, dude. Completely abandoned him. I'm like, fucking.
People are probably freaking out. It's like, what the hell's going on? Like after 9/11, now there's like a lizard man like going around stiff arming people and shit.
It was happening like that all over the airport, though. You were seeing that. Like I knew exactly what it meant because I was seeing other people around me while we're waiting in line. They're like, hurry, go that way, go that way.
Yeah.
Like yelling and like waving down security guards to get weaved through because they were doing their best and they did a great job.
Yeah.
They got him on a flight. It was back to Albany and then or somewhere and then some little airport closer to his home in Orange County, and somebody drove out to get him like that. And we got on the phone afterwards. But in that moment, she gave it to me, and I was like, "Yep, good luck, dude."
Yeah, peace
I
out.
just see the mom from Home Alone running through the airport.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that's you just jetting it. So like you were like,
I've done a lot of Brazilian TV too, but I haven't gotten to go to Brazil yet. They keep coming here.
if you go to Brazil, you got to holler at your boy. I may not come back, but just
right.
Let me roll. I just want to roll to Brazil. I just want to.
That's the thing is that I'm like, I've heard amazing stories, but it's apparently I do pretty well there on TV. Like there was a period of like 2.5 years where I want to say I probably did like 6 to 8 shows, things like that. Like they would have like traveling.
Were you talking though? Like
Yeah, they'll usually just overdub me. I think I could use a translator on one or two, but yeah.
So people think your voice is like.
Yeah,
that's my Portuguese. That
was pretty good.
It's like I'd buy that. Yeah.
So like when you
meanwhile, every Portuguese speaking listener right now is like, that son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Don't bring your ass down here.
Yeah.
Leave your ass in the favela, goddamn it.
Yeah.
So when you were over there though, like because I know internationally their view of 9/11 is far different. Or at least I understand it to be different than our view of what happened 9/11. Is that true?
Depending on where you are, yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's
because like the news coverage in like Germany and England was way different than the news coverage that we had.
Right, and everybody was, especially when it first happened, everybody was like, "Oh shit, what's America gonna do?" It's like
blow some shit up.
It's a scene in the movie, right, where the nerd bumps into the tray and spills it on the bully, and everybody just goes, "Oh fuck, are we about to witness a murder?"
Yeah. Dude, these guys bomb countries that you've never even heard of, that they don't even tell people about. What do you think they're going to do to a country that they actually, suspect of doing something wrong?
Is that we do stuff, and this is the perspective I think you tend to get a little bit more outside the country. Is like, well, you can only do dirty shit for so long before somebody fights back. That was the perspective right there. Like they're like, hey, you don't have the cleanest track record. Is what you heard.
I love it when they get like shocked and stuff like that. They're like, we've been bombing countries for so long, and they're like, "Oh my, we didn't know they were going to fight back." God,
Well, it's and it's the long arc of time, right?
Yeah.
As we all come to find out, it's like, hey, remember in the 80s when we were all yelling and screaming about this bullshit of selling weapons to the Taliban and funding and Reagan was like, "Fuck you! It hurts the commies. The enemy of my enemy is my friend." We're like, that's a very short perspective, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
I understand that you can't remember your lunch, Ronnie, but fucking A.
And that doesn't and that's funny that never comes up like now. You know what I'm saying? They're like, "Oh, remember when we gave them a bunch of weapons and shit?"
It did, but the thing was, at that point, we still had a black eye, right? The problem was the news came out when we were still. That's like in a bar fight when you accidentally catch a punch. Now I'm gonna fucking kill somebody. And somebody goes, "Whoa, dude, that was
punching people."
And somebody goes, "Whoa, dude, that was an accident." And you're like, "I don't care. I still feel that punch. I'm gonna punch somebody else right now."
Yeah.
So America in general was like, we're gonna go step on somebody hard right now. I don't care how much we had it coming. I don't care what the backstory is. Somebody's about to get kicked in the dick.
Even if they weren't responsible for it, we're still gonna.
Megaphone, hot air balloon. We're gone.
Iraq. Why are we going to Iraq?
That was basically the sales pitch on Iraq was, hey, this Taliban thing is really difficult, and they're in caves and it's a mountainous region. And incidentally, my father was a mountain warfare instructor. So a lot of dudes that he trains, names that were scrolled by on the news, those were people I met casually sometimes, people that he knew well.
Oh, wow.
You know, if you were in the 110 Mountain Division, which did a lot of our Afghanistan stuff, you went through my dad before he retired anyway.
They got like good Wi-Fi out there apparently, huh?
Well, it's,
He coordinated the biggest terrorist attack in modern history from
the cave in Iron Man.
But like
from the Iron Man cave.
Yeah,
that's
in 2001.
One of those things where you're like, oh wait, that's we watch a movie and you're like, that's absolutely ridiculous. And then as the technology actually trickles down to the public sector, we go like, oh wait, no, that's way too good. Like it's declassified. And one of the things that my dad's unit did in the early 80s was early GPS stuff.
Oh wow.
Now it was about the size of a laptop. But I remember as a kid, he was talking about like, you go out, you put it, and you stand on it, and it tells you how far your feet are apart. Like we were measuring within quarters of an inch in the 80s. Oh wow! And our shit isn't that good, And now Waze still can't tell what lane I'm in on the highway. Yeah. But I'm like, I know this technology exists at a much higher level.
No, that's funny. That's an interesting topic because I've thought about that a lot too. That there's so much technology that we're obviously not privy to, and that. If you just study like alien technology and stuff like that, and what we do know about alien technology, you realize that they have like far greater technology than what they're giving us.
Oh no, they use it for about 20 years. Yeah, and then,
that's the point,
when they've progress to the next thing, when then they pass it down to
they know how to control it.
And there's a safe release system because you don't want to compromise it. Like we all know how much earpieces and things like that, suck, but you know that the comms for SEAL Team 6 and our advanced operators are much, much better. They're not dropping connection in Madagascar. I mean, they just rescued an American hostage a few nights ago.
Malawi or something like that?
It's, East Africa somewhere.
I think it was Malawi.
But they went like, I guarantee, they're not cutting out, right? I'm not having a conversation on my cell phone that's anywhere near as crystal clear as these guys getting kill orders from halfway around the world.
That's so true.
So the system is, it's not even in something like that. Like, what's the harm in letting people have better communications? Well, I'm assuming there's a secure. You don't want to accidentally provide a way to back engineer our top operatives. There are legitimate reasons sometimes
because we're using it to kill people.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, even if the justification for the operation it's being used on may be very shaky, but the justification for keeping that technology behind closed doors at this point is good. Because I don't want soldiers to die because politicians have given them bad orders.
Right.
That's
I don't want anyone to die.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, I don't even wish death on Dick Cheney. And I think he's worse than a comic
I don't know
villain.
about that.
Oh, no.
Let's not go too far.
Well, I'm not asking for him to drop dead. I'm just asking for the opportunity to piss on his grave before I die.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Before we wrap up.
Yeah.
So you do sideshow shit.
Yeah.
You dabbled in comedy, radio, journalism. Like, is there anything that you haven't done yet that is on your bucket list?
Not really. There's nothing that jumps to mind. I'm sure I'm going to see something at some point. I'm not, I do have that sort of tendency of like, ooh, shiny thing. I want to try that now. I want to do that now. But that's the other thing is that, I'm 48 years old. I've been entertaining professionally for more than half my life. And, the way that started was basically me deciding that if I wanted to do something, I should just fucking go do it.
Yeah.
So I started it's the whole train of dominoes, right? Knocking over that first domino can be the hardest thing you ever do in your life.
Yeah.
But once you knock it down, the rest of them start to fall.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think I ever would have gotten on a stand-up stage if I hadn't done Sideshow.
Yeah.
Right? And Sideshow was the first big one for me to go from. I had to make the choice of being like, oh, I can be that guy that does weird shit at your friend's party or whatever every now and then, blows a fireball or, sticks something in his nose. Or I can actually work on writing a show, developing, selling it and touring it. I can give it a shot. I can make, I can take a chance. And basically, I had to get to the point where I was in grad school in a ton of debt. My dad had gotten his first cancer diagnosis and I hated what it looked like it was going to be my career if I stayed in academics.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, I got to my quote unquote nothing to lose point. And it was like, fuck it. I believe I got a shot at this. I got to take it.
So
fantastic.
Sweet. Where can everybody find you on social media and everything?
Generally, you look at thelizardman.com is the website, and from there, there's links to pretty much anything.
Yeah.
If you see me on somewhere, I always use thelizardman23. So thelizardman23, that's me on Instagram. On Facebook, I think that's the one when you do a username, but you can just find me by looking for Lizardman.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not hard to find. I've had a website longer than Red Lobster, so I got an internet history, man.
I was going to say, there's probably not like another one out there, right? There's not another lizard.
No, there's nobody doing the whole, other people with split tongues, sure. Other people
I mean, I've seen some other cats lately coming out looking all green and stuff, trying to be like, the T2 of the lizard man. Do you want to stare down the barrel of the camera and tell them where they can shove it?
Is there like a Komodo dragon man or something?
Right. Well, fortunately, nobody's taken it quite that far. But I will just say this. I've been doing this for 24 years. I'm going to be doing it a lot longer. Don't step on my fucking gimmick, because I will find your ass. It's a small world.
Thanks, man. We appreciate you doing the show with us.
Hey, it's been a pleasure.
Super interesting.
You got to give me a reason to get out of the house.
Yeah,
all this
right.
shit, man.
We'll give you some more reasons to get out. I love having you around, brother.
This is the Gray Area Podcast brought to you by Hot Pie Media. Shout out to Hot Pie Media. All kinds of stuff. Bake Fresh Daily. They've got so many different podcasts that are amazing, funny, hilarious, interesting. All these other.
Check out the website hotpiemedia.com. And stay tuned for more coming from us and from the pie, man.
And check us out on social media as well. We're doing, podcast?
Podcast The Gray Area on Instagram. Look us up on Facebook, Gray Area Podcast. Chad, what's your social?
Chad Fisher Comedy.
And I am at the Aaron Cheatham. You can check us out, follow us to see bookings. You can see us around while we're touring and getting out and whatnot. And until next time, you guys be kind to each other. Here's mud in your eye. From the Gray Area Podcast. We'll holler at you.
Peace.
Later.
Thanks for listening. You can find more episodes and all other Hot Pie Media originals baked fresh daily at our home on the web at hotpiemedia.com, the Hot Pie Media YouTube channel, or wherever you listen to podcasts.